Green Bay, Wisconsin may best be known for its NFL Packers, but it's also home to significant train history and the rail art of Steve Krueger. While Steve spent much of his life moving around the country, he eventually found a home in this northern Wisconsin city.
During the summer, the Frisco Railroad, that's the St. Louis-San Francisco Railway, they needed summer help. They needed switchmen, they needed brakemen. I worked for the railroad from 1965 June to the end of September as a switchman brakeman. And after that, got drafted into the Army.
After a stint in the military, Steve found his old job at Frisco and Western still waiting for him.
When I got out of the Army, I rehired on with the same railroad, the Frisco. From there, my second career began with the Frisco.
It was during this time that Steve began applying his love for trains with his love for art.
With my railroad experience, I did a few train paintings for some friends, and I liked it. It was very pleasing because sometimes I'd be in the middle of painting and it would bring back memories of when I was in train service as a switchman, brakeman. Smelling the creosote ties and the diesel fumes, it became comfortable since I had that experience. And plus, I don't know how many artists out there who paint train scenes have been in train service, have worked as, on a train as a switchman, brakeman.
Steve's understanding of train mechanics prepared him well.
When you're painting technical trains and then you're doing a wash of trees and you're bringing the stuff together, you have to use lots of different techniques. If you want to put masking fluid to mask something out and you're going to do a wash over that and then pull the masking fluid off, I developed a technique of just using a straw, and I cut it to a point, I dip it in the masking fluid. I can do real fine lines if I want to do telephone wires. I can do certain things that are unique due to the techniques I've picked up.
One of the things Steve likes best about his work at the museum is his interaction with children.
I love to see kids pretend to use their imagination rather than being fed something.
It's that appreciation and love for kids that prompted Steve to create a train-themed, whimsical painting for his own granddaughter.
I wanted to make something bright, colorful, and whimsical. I just thought, hey, how about making a train fly through the sky, put the railroad crossing signal with balloons, have it taking off from the railroad tracks, and put castles in the clouds.
Green Bay's National Railroad Museum proudly displays Steve's work, awarding new members one of Steve's prints upon their joining the museum.
It feels good once something's done, knowing that it's going to go out to thousands of people. In this case, with the Railroad Museum, they're membership prints. And so anybody who buys a $50 membership to the museum gets one of my prints. So it's a way to help the museum gain more income.
Steve's paintings are not only commissioned by the National Railroad Museum, but also by Fortune 500 companies, historical societies, and many private individuals.
Commission work is tough. Sometimes it's easy. Paint this locomotive, number 221. My dad used to be a conductor in it. Here's a picture. Or that's him standing next to the locomotive, So then it's easy. But a lot of times they don't have pictures of the exact thing that they want me to paint. With commission train work, the sky's the limit as far as what they want, and you have to bring it down to specifics and say, okay, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do a snow scene. I'd like to put a wheat elevator next to the train. I'd like to make the logo real big down in the lower left-hand corner if you want. It's just basically having a conversation back and forth.
Steve takes the parameters given to him by his clients and soon heads off to lay paint to canvas.
I enjoy coming down to the basement. It gives me solace. It's a quiet spot for me. And it's when I'm painting, it's almost like my body is going into the painting. It's really weird to take a flat piece of paper and build up a three-dimensional image. It's very satisfying.
And when it's time for a drink, Steve heads for the Titletown Brewing Company, where yet more of his paintings are displayed. preserving train history, commemorating those in the railroad industry, and personalizing train lovers' adventures, Steve Krueger's paintings will continue to indelibly grace walls in Green Bay and beyond.